ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Yep, we're recuperating from my big birthday extravaganza. Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Robert Bannon and you are watching the Roundtable, and I am super live, unlike last week where we were super taped. But I'm so excited to be here with you all. Hey everybody, nice to have you here. I am really excited about today's show because it's a really, really good one. Welcome. If you don't know, this is the Roundtable. My name is Robert Bannon, and it's where artists come and they talk about art and all things that are going on. And we have a really special show for you. We're reuniting the cast of Cool Runnings with two major superstars, Malik Yoba and Leon. Leon has been nominated for Emmys and is an amazing superstar. And Malik Yoba is an NAACP award-winning superstar actor who's been in everything from Empire to Why Did I Get Married, where he was married to Janet Jackson and more. And they both were in Cool Runnings, and they're both going to tell us what they're up to and about how they make their art. So it's a special show for sure. Y'all doing okay? Nice to have you all here. It's good to be here with you all. I'm excited. Do you enjoy this gift? Could it be magic? Yep. Thank you, our friend of our show, Lots of Lattes, for the Barry Manilow mask. They crack me up. Hey, friend. Hey. Hi, Christine Clifton. Welcome, everybody, to the Roundtable. Nice to have you here. We have a lot to do. So can we cover it? Can we get started? I'm excited to get started. You ready to start with me? Let's kick things off with the week in... You know what? Pause. We have a special event today. Where's everyone? We have a special event that I'd like to tell you about. We are doing something on the 28th. It's called the Broadway Lecture Series. We're bringing Miles Frost, the superstar winner of the MJ musical. He plays Michael Jackson. He won the Tony. He's coming to Montclair State University in person, and he's doing an interview with me. So it'll be me and Miles and your questions, and you can meet Miles. And you can have a meet and greet with Miles if you buy those tickets. You can get all that information on robertbannon.com, or you can go to BroadwayLectureSeries.com as well. We should have that up here, shouldn't we? We should. And I'm really excited about it. It's the first time, and it's my baby. It is my baby. So if you go to BroadwayLectureSeries.com, you can get your tickets to absolutely see Miles, and it will be something really special, a really, really, really special night. And I promised my friends that I was going to give away 2 tickets today. Hey, Abby, welcome to the show. No worries about the British time change. We're here. Good to see you. So it's super late there. It's a Tuesday. It's a weird night for us. So I promised that I was going to give away tickets, right? Well, there's our wheel. Here is our wheel. We have the wheel of names, and I haven't done this in so long. We are going to give away a pair of regular tickets, and if you want to come see this show, then you just need to be a part of BroadwayLectureSeries.com and come see Miles Frost interviewed by me. We're going to have a good kiki of a time. Look at all these toys. I can hit all these buttons and I bounce around the whole entire thing. I'm moving, and I'm here and I'm there, and now I'm not here, and now I'm here, and that. Anyway, you get the point. Can we press the button? I haven't done this in a minute. We're going to hit shuffle, and let's spin the wheel. The wheel is spinning, and we're going to pick a lucky winner, and someone getting free tickets is friend to this show, Marie Lange. Marie Lange wins a pair of tickets. Congratulations, Marie. Marie is our lucky winner. We'll be doing another giveaway, but if you don't want to win your tickets, go to BroadwayLectureSeries.com and buy your tickets today. All righty. Are you ready to get back to our regular scheduled program? Congratulations, Marie. You're the lucky winner. I hope you and Tom can join us. Let's go right now to our week in review, shall we? Oh my goodness. It was going and going and going. Marie won. Yay, Marie. So this week I had a lot of fun celebrating my birthday with you all. But before we get to my birthday, I saw a show last week that I lived. Firstly, now that I'm live, thank you to everyone who came to Green Room 42 and saw Rewind. We recorded it for a live album. I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm really grateful to everybody who popped in and saw the show. Look, I even got fan art. Look at my fan art right here. Look at that. I don't know if that looks like me, but I love it. I love it. No, it does. Thank you so much, Edelyn, for making this look. You see it? Do you see it? And I really loved and appreciated all the love that I had there. Yes, Abby, the clock lost control, like the world. Um, and then I went and saw a show that I cannot rave to you about more. You need to run, New York City. Run like you're on fire to Susie Laurie Park's Top Dog Underdog. It was so good. Oh my goodness, I loved it. It was amazing. I read it when I was in acting school. It's a two-people show. It's really about a brother's relationship. It was amazing. And then afterwards, I went with my friend Kyle. And then afterwards, we went to have some drinks. And the cast of Strange Loop was there, and we kikied it up, and we had a great old time. And it was beautiful and amazing. Thank you, OMDKC, for having us, and thank you so much to these amazing performers. This show is so good. I told them they all better have June booked because they're going to win every single acting award. Go, 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 go when you're in New York City. Go see this. Trust me, it's not something you're gonna want to miss. They Corey Hawkins is amazing. Yeah, who has just gotten Marvel. He's just cast in Wonder Man, like Wonder Woman, but Wonder Man. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. I don't know that stuff. You got to go see it. Yeah, I loved it. So that was that. And then on Saturday I went and saw a friend to the show. Oh, thank you, Christine. Thank you. I had so much fun. I really had a good time. I hope you liked the things that we did to change it, to make it better. It means so much for everyone who travels far and near, spends their money and spends their time to see me. Means a lot. We have more concerts coming. All I'm going to say is you should reserve June. You should reserve June 2nd. It's a Friday night at 9:30 because I'll be back in New York at a new venue. That's an old venue. And we're gonna have a lot more stuff coming your way. We'll get to the shameless plug in a minute. What else did I do? Oh, I went and saw our friend to the show, Amanda Seale's show, Smart, Funny, and Black, and at King's Theater. Take a look at the party that was this show. You want to see a peek? Take a peek at this. Is it want to play? It's not playing. Okay, let's try this one. Nothing's gonna work for me, because that's just the kind of day we're having here. All right. Well, if you nope. Okay. If you if you if you saw the show and the post I put on Instagram, I got to say hey to Amanda after the show. She's so great. She was so sweet. I dragged my friend Mike to the show as well. He loved it. We had so much fun. We got to meet Method Man, give him pounds and all fun stuff. I can't believe this does not work. I am infuriated. Why doesn't it work? Why won't this work? I had it all queued up and ready to go. I swear I was so prepared. I was so prepared today. Ah! Well, sometimes that happens. So, she was so wonderful. Thank you so much to the team of Amanda Seales and Smart, Funny, and Black. If she's in your neighborhood, make sure you definitely go and check it out. And then I celebrated my 39th birthday. It was Halloween with the family upstairs. Thank you to Michelle, Diego, Vanessa, Natasha, and my Aunt Fran for celebrating with me. Thanks to my parents. Thanks to my brother and Christina for celebrating with me earlier. The Sams and my friends and everyone who took me out and had a good, grand old time. I'm so appreciative of you all. You know who I met, and I'll show you more pictures in a minute. I met DJ from Roseanne this weekend, Michael Fishman. He was so nice. What a nice guy. He's coming on the show soon, and he's got a story to tell. Gulp. So hang tight. Yeah, the Sams, we did the Halloween. He loves Halloween. He's a Scorpio like me. We went by my dad's and we handed out candy, and that's my class on the Halloween parade. And I was dressed as a king because I was too lazy to wear more of a costume. The dogs were avocados. That's Cooper, Milo, and Clarence. So we were just a bowl of guacamole. And it was a really fun, special day. To turn 39 next year for 40. I'm hiding in the closet. I'm back in the closet. I'm going back in the closet. Yeah, let's talk about a good old shameless plug, shall we? Thank you, everybody, for putting up with me and my nonsense. Here's the shameless plug. Because I'm shameless. Wow, that was long. Hey, I've seen a lot of super fantastic live shows in recent weeks. I've been really grateful that people invite me and ask me to come to see their shows, and I'm really grateful for that. It's really wonderful and it's surreal. So surreal. Um, Yeah, well, come see my show too, like they all did. If you are free and looking for something fun to do in Los Angeles, or you wanna live stream the show in Los Angeles, the show is live streamed. We fought our good fight. We have Matt Gould, who's the amazing music director and writer of Lampika and Witness Uganda. He's playing piano, and we're doing the duet of some of his songs that we've worked on for 8 years, and we've never done them. We never had the chance to do them live, and we're finally going to do them. And then Jane Monheit and I have a duet on my album, How Deep Is the Ocean? And I've never sung with her live. I've seen her show. We're friends, but we've never sung together. So if you want to see the debut of our duet, make sure you come to Feinstein's at Vitello's. And then my good friend Dominique Paton will be there as well. She just left Wicked on Broadway. She was Anna in Frozen in Disneyland for its whole run. And she's an amazing Broadway superstar singer. And we have a really fun Disney Frozen moment to do together that I've never sung before. So it'll be some stuff you know from Rewind and some new stuff. And you could get tickets to see it virtually right now. All you got to do is go to robertbannon.com, click the link for the LA show, and come. And if you have friends or family in LA, it would mean a real super duper lot to me if you can tell them to come to the show, because whenever you do a show that's not in your home area, you hope people come, and we need people to come. And I would appreciate all of the love and support as well. So thank you so much. And we have more shows. If you're in this area and you want to celebrate Christmas with me, come see me and more at robertbannon.com. I'm doing Robert's one night only Thankful Christmas concert with me and some special guests. It's only $25, and the money goes to Stageworks Theater Group, which is a group for kids to do plays and art. It's a nonprofit group. So if you want information on that, that's also all available on my website at robertbannon.com. And it's pretty great. It sure is. Yes, Janelle worked really hard. Janelle, did you even see me wear the Barry mask, or did you come late? Janelle fought the fight and made sure they got those virtual tickets up as fast as they could, because they dragged. Oh my goodness, Abby, the day after your birthday. Well, Abby, don't worry. Our day will come and we'll have a big party and a celebration for you. I promise. But share with a friend, share with anybody you know that's in LA or in New Jersey. Come see me live, and the Broadway lecture series. My goodness, how do we pay for all of this? Well, we pay for all of this with virtual tip jar, right, Rose? My mother is out there somewhere. If you want to support the show, you can Venmo at R Bannon and help us out and make every dollar we raise. Thank you for the tips last week. Last week with Justin Guarini, we made money. Justin Guarini brings people money. I love Justin Guarini so much. I know you loved that show. If you want to support the show, you can Venmo me at R Bannon, and the money goes to promote the show. The more views we get for the show, the more guests we get for the show. And I am so grateful, incredibly grateful for all of you, always. Oh no, you missed it. You missed the mask. I wore it in the beginning of the show. Well, thank you for the mask. And you can watch it on demand. We're here on YouTube, where you can always like, comment, share, and subscribe. Look at that pivot. Finally, I know some of you like this. You like this nutty segment. Here you go. I'll be there for you. How you doing? Hey, friend. Hey, we've heard from some friends this week, so I want to give a big shout out and thanks to all the friends who wished me a happy birthday. I had overwhelming amount of wishes, and I'm really grateful. No one is luckier than me. Some of the ones that made me laugh: the incredible Margaret Josephs, the Real Housewife of New Jersey herself. Thank you, Marge. I adore the pigtail princess right there. She's the best. Thank you for that. And no matter what I do, my father freaks out that I know Melissa Manchester. Hey, friend. Melissa is a Grammy superstar, and I literally wrote to her, nothing impresses my parents more than when Melissa Manchester knows their son. My dad said to me after I posted that, can I have dinner with her? Like, no, this is not Tinder. I'm not setting you up on a date with Melissa Manchester. Please. Please. You know? And lastly, hey, friend, hey, I got a copy of this book, Surviving the Odds by the amazing Candy Milo. She'll be at the LA show with a whole bunch of other people. So come see, sit, and be like Hollywood Squares in that audience. Candy Milo wrote a book about her father having one of the first ever halfway houses, and how that informed her life and her career to go into voiceover and acting. And I haven't started it yet, but it looks like a great read, and it's got a lot of pictures and receipts, as they say. And she's so funny and smart and wonderful. She's the voice of all of these amazing characters. And she wrote this book. It's available on Amazon, and I can't recommend it to you enough. It is the pick of the week for sure. So thank you, Candy, and I look forward to seeing you in LA next week. Yeah, so great, right? We have an extra bonus Jonas roundtable talk this week. Going up tomorrow, Terry Roach, the iconic singer-songwriter, the founding member of the Roaches. Her and her sisters were from Park Ridge, New Jersey. They were discovered by Paul Simon. They put out albums that were voted the #1 album of the year by the New York Times, and they gave up their entire career. Talk about unfinished business. They gave up their entire career to leave the business because they got a bad review from the record company. And she tells a really brilliant story, and she wrote a brand new book, as you can see right down there, that's called Can You See That Sun, for her sister. And it's a really good interview, and I hope you check it out. So are you ready? I think that's it. You're going to like these interviews. Leon's up first, and then the one and only, Leon. I get stuck on Leon because they're taped, and Leon's I hate the internet sometimes because you have Leon. Leon came on and he couldn't hear me twice. We had to reschedule twice, and the sound still didn't work right. Welcome to the internet. Malik Yoba is here and Leon is here, and let's get started, shall we? Oh boy. Then you guys wonder why I can't always do these shows live. Can you imagine? I'd be mortified. I love y'all. Take a peek at this. You're going to like it. All right, I'm so honored to have our next guest with us. I've been really excited to speak to him. He's on the list of people I've wanted to talk to when we started this. We've had a lot of his co-stars on. We've had a bunch of co-stars from projects he's done. And when I think of an artist and a true actor, I think of Leon. It's a real honor to have him here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Leon, welcome.
Hey, good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I truly do. I have seen your work, and it is really embodied to me the artistic spirit. You pick art and work. You don't pick easy roles, Leon. The first time I remember seeing you, if I can bring that up, is this moment in history. It's quite a moment. It was quite a groundbreaking moment.
I'd have to agree.
It was and is. You talk about a song that's a bop and a hit that will live forever, and a video that is a part of pop culture history. What an explosion you caused back then in 1989.
Yeah, definitely. Madonna's good for that.
For sure. And if you even go further, I'm of a certain age, and I very much remember this movie as well. All the Right Moves is really a really beautiful, well done movie, and I love it very much so. But I'd be remiss. This is it, Leon. This is you want a case study in how to be an amazing character actor? This is it. How did that part come about, and how did you get in the shape and in the head to be David Ruffin?
Well, the role came around. I did a movie that's become iconic, especially in the Black community, called The Five Heartbeats. And shortly after I did that movie, right, Otis Williams, the founding member of the Temptations, came to me and said that he'd written a book with someone and they wanted to make it into a movie. And when they did, he wanted me to play him. I'm like, this is Otis Williams from the Temptations saying he wants me to play him. The Temptations? Are you kidding me? Right. So I'm like, yeah, sure. Let me know when it happens. So eventually it did happen. And it was a combination of, I believe, NBC and Hallmark, believe it or not. And they called me in for a meeting to discuss the movie with me. And they said, listen, before we get into, any kind of, negotiations or anything, we just wanted to ask you, we know that Otis has expressed that he'd like for you to play him. But we'd like to ask you, what role do you think you should play? And I said, well, to play Otis, and this is his story and him from him to want me is, I'm flattered. But if you're asking me objectively, I think I would best serve this production if I play the role of David Ruffin. and they were all like, "Oh my God, we were hoping you said that. We didn't know who we get to play David Ruffin if you didn't play David Ruffin."
Well, he's the juiciest character for sure. What a talent and what a life.
No, he was amazing.
And then you go on. This was my personal favorite, Leon. Emmy nominated role in Little Richard. I grew up playing piano. I wanted to emulate Little Richard. I wanted to play like Little Richard. I loved everything about Little Richard. I loved the sequins and the hair and the whole shebang and the playing. He played such a fun music, and you're a musician. He has such a fun way of playing that he really invented. What was it like to take on an icon like that? And how did you find the Little Richard in you? You're not very much like Little Richard from what I can tell. So
I mean, as a matter of fact, when they first came to me to play it, I wasn't interested. Because I couldn't see I have to always, in order for me to take on a role, I have to see myself in the role. And it's actually probably the first and only time I've ever remember people doubting me. I mean, when it was announced that I was cast, there were some people going, he can't pull this off. He's not the right person, And to be perfectly honest with you, I thought the same thing when first asked, because all I knew was the Little Richard of the day, was the Jerry Curl, this all the guy is. So I had to do my research, and I read his book, and I saw his pictures, and I mean, because I played Little Richard from 1957 to 1963, and I mean, he was a stud.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a great looking guy. I mean, he was a fireball. And as I got into it, and especially looked at his jawline and features and stuff, I was like, you know what? Yeah, all right.
And you did it. And you bring the embodiment of Richard.
Well, it also helped that I was able to work with the director that I already knew and liked. And I was able to suggest, him, and they wound up hiring him, and it was great. So working with Robert Townsend again, it was great.
Listen, when Little Richard, the Temptations movies are on VH1 or BT or wherever they're playing, there must see stop the television and watch moments, because you all are doing amazing work on all of that.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Leon, your body of work will live literally forever, and I have a whole bunch of students. I teach in 5th grade in New Jersey, and I'm not going to talk to amazing people like you. And we just watch Cool Runnings in my classroom. And I know there's new generations through the years that become fans of this movie. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Came right up from the Is that true?
No. We did Cool Runnings in 1993.
Oh, okay. So there's years.
Yeah, we did it in 1993, and it was it was a great experience in the sense that one, getting to shoot in Yard, Jamaica. It was that's great. Spend months in Jamaica filming, having people around me that I know and love. It was great, and then being able to play someone who represents a country, who represents at the Olympics, it's something that you can only dream about doing unless you're actually an Olympic athlete. One of the beauties of being an actor is to be able to play roles like that. I think where you can actually, embody someone who got to do something great. Like represent their country and have a whole nation or an island behind you. Yeah, so it's great.
Well, you serious actor. So many serious roles that we took you from. And to see you just have fun, that cast is so much fun. John Candy is genius, and Malik Yoba, all the guys in the cast are really brilliant. So another movie you're watching, you have young people in your life and your family, and you want to have a good movie night out. Leon, Cool Running. All right, so how did you get involved in music? Have you always been involved in music?
Music was probably my first love.
Yeah.
That was when I was in college as a freshman. I wrote and performed the song for the Special Olympics. And I've always loved music. And always, music was always in my household. My dad was always singing. I was always singing. And so I think that once I became well known as an actor, I started making a lot of friends in the music world. I started emceeing a lot of music festivals and we'd just be backstage, just singing a cappella and it's like that. And they were the ones that encouraged me. They would say like, dude, you should sing, man. I mean, you don't have to, but but you should because you like it and you're good and you should do it. So I wound up like joining a band here in New York, and we started doing well, the Young Lions, and but I wanted to do original music, and they were wanting to just cover songs, and so I was like, well, let me go start my own thing, the Peoples.
And you sure did. And you can listen, Leon and the Peoples, your album that came 2 years ago, Love is a Beautiful Thing. We listened to it today in my classroom with my students, and I love the single, Leon. World's Gonna Come Around, the hook of the song, and the musicality of the song. You have an important message, but it has a great groove and great to it.
Yeah,
You
thank
write,
you. Right? I call that now art for activism.
yeah. And then you put out the songs. You have top 10 hits. You toured the entire world. How is it?
Well, not world yet, but the country, yes.
So how do you put on the two hats, the artist hat, the musician hat? How do you kind of schedule your day? What do you let your art lead you? Do you plan your year?
To be honest with you, I just take it day by day. Last week, for example, I did a reading at the Signature Theater of a brand new play that may go to Broadway. And then the next day, I'm in rehearsals with the band. And then, I'm doing press all the next day. Then I'm actually doing ADR for a TV series that I appear on. Yes, I just take it as, I just look at the schedule. Sometimes I miss some things. That's what have Bree for to remind me. And you just take it day by day. It's like today I'm doing press. I have about 4 interviews today. And then tomorrow, for example, I am hosting the first ever New York legalized cannabis cup at Sony Hall. And then the day after that, I am hosting a screening of AJ's Story. I'm on the board of the Bronx Initiative, and we teach teenage underprivileged kids in the Bronx how to make films from beginning to end, from the concept to writing a script to actually shooting it. And my production company makes the film for them. So we produce the film for them, but they're learning. So our objective for us is to continue making these films with some grants from the Board of Education, but eventually have the kids be the director and the kids be the producer. And right now they shadow us while they learn from us. And the first movie is called AJ's Story, and it premieres tomorrow night. And I know they're very excited.
Congratulations. Beautiful program. These schools have so few funding, and there's so many kids that need art, and it's the first thing that gets taken. So
yeah, that's one of the things that that I'm an advocate for. One of the things that I'm not happy about is the art being taken out of schools, especially here in New York. New York is built on art. I mean, this is the art capital. You know what I'm saying? And we must have these young people thriving in the arts. And so, I'm going to do all I can to make sure that stays alive.
And I'm sure you have a lot more characters and television and movies that fill in you. And we are living and plays. We are living and waiting for what's truly to come.
I'm looking forward to it. I feel, people always say to me, they say, why, you look so young. I said, well, I feel young in this business. I don't just look it because there's so much more for me to do. And I'm doing it, and I'm happy about it.
But you also donate.
Of course. I mean, but donating, giving your time, helping people that are, the next generation. That's just a part of life. It's a part of me being a dad. I couldn't imagine not doing that. I mean, how many years do I need to live just for me? Can I give some of it back? Can I give some of what I've learned to other people? Of course.
Well, you're beautiful spirit, and it's a real honor to talk to you as an artist and as an admirer of your work. If you want to follow Leon, and you can go to Instagram at www.justleon, or you can go to your website at justleon.com, listen to the music, watch the television, the films,
Go to the band's website too, which is leonandthepeoples.net.
Leon, the people that. Are you gonna have new music when you're always on the doing shows and fun things coming?
Well, we're doing shows constantly. We're next at Sony Hall with Third World on November the 12th, and then we are at the Warehouse in Amityville, New York, on 13th.
Leon, I have to be there.
Come on now.
Amityville Hall is a great place to see a show. Come downstairs, great show. Leon and the Peoples.net. Make sure you stream their music wherever their music is heard. It was a real honor, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great conversation, great guy, great actor. But I don't know. Sometimes the echoes and repeats, and we're at the mercy of the internet, as they say. Leon is quite the star and has quite the body of work. It was an honor to talk to him. Speaking of quite the star, quite the body of work, Malik Yoba joined me while I was in my classroom at 3 o'clock, including interruptions from my students. Hear about how he's got 91 IMDb TV and film credits, everything from NY, New York Undercover, all the way to Why Did I Get Married, etc., and what he's doing to help create financial literacy to inner cities. It was a real special, very special conversation with Yul Brynner of Cool Runnings, otherwise known as Malik Yoba. All right, everyone, I'm really excited. Listen, 91 IMDb credits, television, film. He does everything. He's got a docuseries coming out. He has a brand new series on Netflix. His book's coming out. We've seen him from Yul Brynner and Cool Runnings. He's made Janet Jackson cry. Why'd you make Janet Jackson cry, Malik Yoba? And all the way up to New York Undercover and more. So I'm real honored to have Malik Yoba here. Malik, welcome to the Roundtable. Thanks for being here.
Good to see. I have 91 credits on there.
91 credits.
I think some are missing.
I was gonna say, does it feel too little or too many?
No, it's everything's not always tracked, but no, that's great.
And that is so true. You're from New York.
Yeah, from the Bronx.
From the Bronx. And that's right, the boogie down Bronx. How did your career and love of art and acting start?
Well, we were just talking about Top Dog, right? And you're gonna go see it tonight. And it's the magic of theater, man. Like, I was that kid who saw Alice in Wonderland on stage as a 4-year-old. And I was like, I want to do that. Didn't know what that was. I just knew the feeling that it gave me. And so started as a child actor in school and at home. We used to write plays, my siblings and I. We weren't allowed to have television. So my father didn't believe in other people. As you can see, there are a lot of books in my house growing up. But yeah, man, seeing Top Dog last night and seeing Corey Hawkins, who did his first film with me about 11 years ago. And he always, says that, like, man, but that's the beautiful thing about stage and the beautiful thing about great work. Susan Laurie Park's work, Top Dog on the Door. You said you read it in college. You already know. We don't get that kind of language to live in us and to transport us into these places. Reminded me, I did piano lesson about 15 years ago now, and I played Boy Willie. And August Wilson, same thing, that kind of text, which I actually have. This is actually my copy from when I did that play.
With your notes.
With all the notes and all the. Can you see that?
Yeah.
I've prepared this for anybody, actually. So I'm having a moment right now.
I hear you. I am too. I remember reading that as well in acting school, and how important it is to read these works. When you get a script, if you might share a little tidbit before we get into all of the other projects, when you get a script, I could see it, highlighted, notes. What is your process when you get the text? Do you Do you start the memorization? Do you start finding actions? What do you do when you get it?
There's no one way. There's no one way. I mean, I think the first thing is always reading it just to let it wash over you. See how it feels, right? And sometimes certain parts of the text will jump out immediately and you go, all right, I know that. Other times you're like, what the fuck is this? Other times you think you have it and then you realize you don't have it. Sometimes you didn't think you had it, you really have it. So there's yeah, man, it's all kinds of ways, you know. And the thing about theater is you get to live in it for so much longer, and that's the richness of. Are you in a classroom? I love it.
We are literally just let the 5th grade classroom out, and that is why.
So you talk about 5th grade.
Yes.
It was my 5th grade teacher, Miss Terrell, who was the person besides my mother who said, you got talent, kid. And that teacher, I invited. I love it.
Why, Malik Yoba?
No. But you don't. No. You don't know. This is perfect for somebody else who doesn't understand. This may not make no excuse. Don't mute the shit. Make it part of the moment, bro.
Well, we're talking about literally about this, and this is live at 3 o'clock. I let the class go, and then the Mr. Bannon hat goes away, and then the actor artist hat comes on. But we got to pay our bills, Malik.
I'm that same dude. I mean, classrooms all the time. I've never stopped working with young people. I've never stopped education. Everything I'm doing right now, which we can get to, is rooted in that. So that is what's up. Like it was my 5th grade teacher, Miss Terrell, who believed in me besides my mother. My father was like, whatever, you're not doing that shit professionally. So y'all want to write plays and do them in the living room and charge us to come see it. Fine, you got your hustle on. He respected that, but he wasn't respecting the pursuit of the arts in that way. And it was mostly because he was a jazz musician, born with the name Milton Myers. And when he'd show up, people expected some Jewish dude. And so he was dealing with all that in the 40s and the 50s, trying to find his identity as an artist and him not being able to fulfill that dream. So for us, it was like, you ain't doing that shit. You're going to read some books. You're going to make something. You're going to build your own generator. So when they turn off the power, you still have lights. That's tattooed on my arm.
Wow.
I live by that. But the teacher part, Miss Terrell, I invited to see my shows all the way to high school because of who she was at that population you're teaching right now, those 10-year-olds. And that belief in that kid and that expansive vision for that kid is important, because in this business, people will try to keep you in a little fucking box and tell you, oh, well, you do comedy, I don't think you can do drama. Oh, you're too this, you're not enough that, or because someone doesn't see it. And back to Corey and watching him in Top Dog Underdog, what I love about that opportunity for him is that anyone who comes to see him that's in this business, director, producer, they're going to see some shit that they haven't seen in anything I've seen him do in any film. And that is the beautiful thing about theater. That is the beautiful thing about education, because to write that level of work, you have to be literate. You can't bullshit. You have to have studied the classics. You have to understand structure. You have to understand the timeless nature of the art form of telling a great story. And Susan Laurie Parks does that. Like, it's a Pulitzer Prize. I mean,
yes. Well, what I love about, you're talking about Corey and talking about you, is that I saw The Color Purple. I went to a screening of The Color Purple, and to see him dance and sing and see that aspect of it. I know you're a musician. I know you theater. It's not just New York Undercover. It's not just Empire. There's a full artist range of talent.
It's all the things. And when you grow up in it, that's you learn to write and direct and produce. And I took ballet, I took modern, I took tap. You know, I play guitar, I play trumpet, I play saxophone, I play a little piano. So I write music. So again, if people only see you as this one character, And even that's, you mentioned Empire. That was for me one of the most challenging. You know what? So I can you prepare. So I'm gonna tell you something about that day. That was one of my worst days on set. Because to the point that we're making, New York Times shows up to interview the cast. They never spoke to me. And of all the shows that I've been on in the history of my career, I've never been in a situation where people were so divisive. So you're going to have the New York Times show up. And at that time, if you look at there was no one on that show that had more TV credits than me. Still to this day, in terms of the amount of shows that I've been a part of. And so it was an interesting feeling of people trying to keep you in this space and not let you do your thing. That's a show where I play guitar. We're shooting a scene and Terrence had his guitar on set and we're just fucking around between scenes. And I decide, you know what? My character in my mind is L.A. Reid. He's exec, but he started as a musician. It was never written, but the job of the artist is to add layer and dimension to your character. So I continued on as we began to shoot, playing. And then, and I know enough to do two things. One, not play any music that's copywritten. So you're not going to have any issues around copyright. So I'm just doodling, no real composition. Number two, I'm not going to upstage myself or my co-star by playing over his lines. And if I do choose to play, I'm going to play softly enough. It's not going to disrupt, right? So all that is going on in your head as a writer, as a director, as an actor, as a producer, in a moment, as the actor, because I understand the whole picture. So director says, cut. One of the writer producers comes over and says, can you lose the guitar? It's distracting. There's a grand piano in the shot. We're a music company where it's a scene which is exposition. So it's nothing deeply emotional. I know what the fuck I'm doing on purpose to add layer and dimension to a character, and I'm being restricted. New York Undercover, with all the music guests we had on the show, we were never allowed to perform. And we're told, nah, this ain't going to be cop rock. No. So meanwhile, when B.B. King guest stars or a musical star on the show, he never let anyone play Lucille, but he let me play it. I got to perform with Stevie Wonder, or as a result of the Marleys playing on that show, I performed with the Marleys in Jamaica and Puerto Rico and Miami, at Summer Stage in Central Park. So if you're just the actor, not that season, because God bless the dead with Tommy Ford, but see, that's after they killed Michael DiLorenzo and they tried to keep the show going, but it didn't work because the DNA of the show. So we're all over the place with this, but it's these are the things that people should know, right? Even as you transition to say, you know what, I'm doing the teacher thing, I want to go back into it, and you should, but make sure you're writing, make sure you're producing, make sure you're creating your own shit, right? Because it's great. I mean, I don't mind showing up for other people's things, but certainly at this point in life and career, after 91 credits, it's still, hey, can you come audition for these 3 lines for this show or for this movie? Still, I got 3 Image Awards right here. Best dramatic act.
So sending in a tape or auditioning for.
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
But when I call Malik Yoba's people, I know what Malik Yoba, I have 91 credits but that's this business.
Yeah. But James Earl Jones said it best. No one asked me to act, so this business doesn't owe me anything.
It's true too.
So, I'm just glad that I've always been an entrepreneur and I've always been creative and I don't sit around waiting for a job.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You've created your own yeses. You've created your own projects. You're not sitting around waiting for the phone to ring or to get that call. How did you diversify your skill set? I mean, you act, you write, you sing, you play instruments. Then you get into things like real estate, and you get into trying to teach and educate, groups of people and societies and neighborhoods to have more ownership into their own lives. How did this all tie together to your life and career?
So when I was a kid, I was accused of not being focused. My father used to say, "Boy, you got to focus. Boy, you got to focus." And in my mind, I would say, I'm focused on the thing I'm doing. So in school, you might start your day with math, and then you go to English, then you go to history, then you go, right? So in the course of a day, you could touch 6 different disciplines. So the idea that if you were born with multiple talents and interests, and everyone isn't, for those children, they need to be nurtured. And it's not about they can't focus, it's about you don't know who you're raising, right? Fortunately, Miss Terrell saw something. My father had his ideas about who I was supposed to be. My mother was much more, "Hey, baby, whatever you want to do, I'll support you." Oh, you want to do photography? I got a friend who's a photographer. Go intern. You want to work in theater? I worked at Negro Ensemble Company as a kid, where I met Sam Jackson and Angela Bassett and Adolph Caesar and so many people, Felicia Rashad, and as a kid, like dreaming about being on that stage and seeing Top Dog last night. It always takes me back to those days of being a kid. All I wanted to do was be on Broadway. I wasn't necessarily trying to make movies and be on television. I just wanted to bring characters to life in these spaces, these sacred spaces, right? Where for hundreds of years, in some cases, like in Europe, I go to these old theaters and I just sit there in an empty ass theater just to feel it, just to, you know what I mean? It came to, as I got older, I never stopped doing all these things. Sometimes I do one thing more than the other. Like I picked my guitar up for the first time the other night, for the first time in months, and sang. Although I'll do open mics occasionally. There's a dude named Ray Angry, who's part of the Roots. He does this thing called Producer Mondays every Monday night at New Blue in the Village, which is dope because it's all musicians, just all fucking improving, everybody. There's no written composition, so that's always dope to go do that kind of thing. Now that we can do it again since the last couple of years, but I've always had a restaurant for 9 years. I had a marketing company. I've had a theater company, music and tech. But I've just always been interested and curious about a lot of different things. And, I've always been entrepreneurial and had a paper route from 8 years old to 16 in Harlem. So I've always been hustling. But this current iteration of work, I got into real estate development like 17 years ago through a friend named Dan Bythewood, whose cousin Reggie Bythewood was a writer, and Gina just did Women King. Reggie introduced me to Dan back in the 90s on set of New York Undercover. And when I had my theater company, I was looking to raise money, and a developer friend out of DC said, "Hey, you should reach out to this guy I know." And it turned out to be Dan. So she reconnected us. And although I was looking for money to produce shows, I was also interested in getting into development. And so I told that to Dan. And so Dan said, "Hey, man, come down to Baltimore. Just bought this land and I'm going to teach you." And so I became an apprentice and an investor and brought other money to the table and learned how the built environment comes to be. And the whole time I was saying, I want to tell these stories. I want people to know what the fuck is going on. And so that was 2007. And then and before that, in the 90s, I bought my first property. And when I sold it in 2004, that first property, I made more money in one transaction than anything I had done at that point. And I felt like, yo, this real estate thing, I need to do more of this. So then in 2017, I started Yoba Development, but I didn't really do much with it. But I was encouraged to begin. I would go to real estate conferences, and there's a woman named Tammy Jones who owns an investment fund, private equity, called Basis Investments. And she probably has the largest fund of any Black woman that I know. It's probably close to $800 million at this point. And so she said, Malik, start it. And so I started. And then in 2018, I was shooting God Friended Me on CBS. And
with Brandon. And it's a great show. I love the show.
Yeah, another Juilliard kid.
Yep, he sure is.
And when I got the offer, and this is one of those where I didn't have to audition, right? So you get, here's an offer for, I think it was 3 episodes I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start reading the script, and the character is a real estate developer in Harlem developing affordable housing. That's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. I swear to God, like, I'm sitting at the table and I'm reading the script, and this character is saying the exact things I say. But that happens a lot. That happened in Why They Get Married, New York Undercover, Girlfriend, so many things I've done where art imitates life. But this one was like, I literally pushed the computer away from me and was like, all right, I see you, God. I see you. This is crazy. I finished reading, and we shot right here in Brooklyn. And one day I'm on set, and I'm looking at a development site across the street that's owned by a friend of mine, an entire city block. He's one of these guys. His name is Scott Reckler. He's one of the biggest developers in New York. We sat on the board of the Center for Social Innovation together. But I never talked to him about real estate, although I knew it one day I'm going to. And then down the block are housing projects. And I thought about all the people that walk by housing projects, walk by film sets and construction sites that have no idea about either space besides maybe a construction worker, a broker, or an actor. And I said, you know what? I'm in both of these spaces, and I want to bring 3 of my passions together: real estate, filmmaking, and young people. And I didn't know what that was going to be. And at the time, there were some women that wanted to start a foundation with me. And so we had a meeting, and I said, I don't want to do a foundation. I have a company, but I want it to be purpose-driven. And this is the idea. I want to introduce young people to real estate, but I want to use film to do it and tell stories and sort of break down the industry and, segment it from interior designers to engineers to finance and make it short form. And at the time, I had been talking to Yahoo Finance about doing some kind of content. And so couldn't quite wrap my head around it. And then 2 days later, one of the women sends me a deck, and it says, I Build New York. She said, that's your idea. And I read it, and I was like, yo, this looks pretty fly. Like the way she did it graphically. And then I shared that with my developer friend. I said, look, I really want to figure out how to bring diversity to this business, which is still 78% white men at the C-suite level. And it's a family legacy business. If you don't grow up in a family that builds buildings, and it's usually millionaires and billionaires that are doing it, you ain't got to weigh in. You go to school, and even then, you got to start in the mailroom or an internship. But I wanted to accelerate that process by giving people information through film. And I shared it with him, and he said, we've always been wanting to diversify this business. And so he's like, let's meet. And I was working on rehearsal of my one-man show, Harlem to Hollywood. And I said to my director, I said, you know what? I have a meeting. I'll be back. I said, I'm going to go get this money. But so when I go to the meeting with Scott, I never actually asked him for money. We just started talking about the project, and he goes, I'll fund it. And I said, really? I was like, I was I didn't even ask. He goes, I know. And so once he said that, I said, you know what? Now that I realize I have a budget and I was going to do some kind of summer program, I said, why don't I just shoot a documentary? And we'll shoot in the summer. And I was doing my one-man show that year at the Apollo in February and then again in June. So I had this meeting with Scott around December. And we knew we wanted to originally do a summer program when kids were out of school. So we chose like July. So from December to July, as I just moved through my life, I met the people. I started meeting more and more people in real estate, young people who were interested, who were like, one kid was my waiter in a restaurant. He sees me, and wasn't even my waiter. He was someone else's waiter, but he saw me and he wanted to reintroduce himself to me because I met him in Harlem some years earlier. And he knew about a guy named Philip Payton, who was the first Black developer in New York in 1904. He had a company that ran to 1908. And I said, how do you know this guy? He goes, oh, I was Googling Bumpy Johnson, Godfather of Harlem, that main character in it, right? And he goes, that's how I know about him. And so I'm looking at this nappy-headed, tattooed, beautiful, brown, dark-skinned kid from Harlem. Like, yo, this kid is perfect. He has no idea what I'm thinking, but I'm like, I'm going to put him in my shit. And then it kind of went like that. I'm moving around the city and I meet a young lady in the leasing office and she's like, oh, my brother wants to be a developer. I was like, yo, show up on this day. And so we chose a day, July 17th, or July 18th, I think, 2019. I told these young people, I collected like 7 of them. 2 were mentees already. One was a young architect student. I knew him when he was in high school. He was now about to go to his first year in college. And I was like, show up on this day at this place. They had no idea what they were showing up to. They all showed up. And I just began to introduce them to the world. And I was like, I'm going to shoot it cinematically. Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown, is my kind of inspiration. Just keep the camera live, cinema verite style. And I'm going to capture these moments. And what began to happen is as I traveled around from the Hamptons to Newburgh, I saw the lights going off in them. Like one young lady, Corinth Jackson, was a student at Barnard studying urban studies. Her father's a developer. Her mother is a broker. All of these are kids of color. And she had interned at Related, where she was the only Black woman. And they are developing in Black and brown communities. And she was very confused. Like, how is that possible? That the people who are developing don't look like the people who live there. As a 21-year-old, she's asking these questions. And she says things like this journey of 6 weeks going across New York, introducing her to millionaires and billionaires and developers and politicians and bankers and architects and construction workers and exposing them in real time to this built environment. She said, this is more impactful than the 4 years at Columbia. So that was 2019. COVID happens. We're all forced to shut down. I thought I was going to work with some other editors, and I ended up editing this thing myself. And it turns into what's called the Real Estate Mixtape. And it's a 10-part series about my journey. I love you.
I don't play. I'm not here to play.
It's a 10-part journey of me doing my first development deal in New York, commercial deal, which has actually led to a development deal in South Bronx of a school and 1,300 units of affordable housing and a sports and wellness complex. And so what's happened in the last few years is, and especially in the last year, is this idea I had 5 years ago, real estate filmmaking and young people, has accelerated into a fellowship with Pratt Institute of Pratt Institute School of Architecture, a partnership with the Department of Education, the Department of Youth and Community Development. The list is growing with city agencies and community-based organizations working on a new deal in Boston. It's just become, what I've learned is it's become a very useful tool to engage people around diversity, equity, and inclusion in this space, financial literacy. It's an additive for a supplement for teachers who want to teach this, but it's not part of the core curriculum. It's about shrinking that information in a gap, which thus shrinks the wealth gap. And it's spewing off all kinds of other things, right? I'm working with other tech companies as a result of it, a company called Mula Wireless, where I'm now, actually this might work for your kids, actually. If you have low-income kids that are on food programs or Pell Grants, I can get them free Android tablets that are already digitally connected so that they can do their homework and communicate with their family and not be stuck in the digital divide. That's one of the offerings of Yoba Development as a result of everything we're doing. So what I found is that, so Yoba Development is a diversified portfolio company specializing in real estate, media, and education. So everything that I said 5 years ago, young people, real estate, and filmmaking has coalesced into a fluid interplay between the storytelling, which leads to education, but it also puts me in position to participate in deal flow. And I have scripted pieces in this space, reality in this space. So I'm doing a lot in this, interior design, obviously the development stuff. And then a scripted piece that I have, which we've never seen this world. Yeah, man. So I'm talking a lot, but
no, please. I'm floored. I just could fall over because I don't know how you do it all. As you know, I'm in this 5th grade classroom. We're 93% economically disadvantaged. We're first generation.
I got you.
No.
All I need, and I'm doing batch enrollment. So if you tell me you have 1,000 kids, all I have to do, and my daughter is working with me now. She's handling this part. I don't do all. The only way I can do all this shit is in partnership. So let's.
I was going to say, how the hell do you do it all?
So I tell people I work 30 hours a day, 8 days a week.
I get it.
I was working till 3 a.m. last night, working on this proposal for this development deal in Boston. So what's dope about what I'm doing is that I'm still a storyteller, right? Everybody's got a story to tell. So like, for instance, this deal in Boston, there are 20 minority developers in this one $600 million deal. They're not in the storytelling business. They're not in the education business. Where we meet is in the real estate business. Where I can accentuate and amplify what they're doing is the storytelling and the education. So, when you do these big developments, there has to be a community give back. People think the development is just about big, greedy developers always coming and displacing people. But the fact is, just like with banks, right? There's a Community Reinvestment Act, which dictates that financial institutions have to give a certain amount back to communities that they do business in. And similarly, when developers develop, if you see a new development go up, and all of a sudden there's new seating outside and trees, that's part of the deal. They have to do that. If you get low-income housing tax credits to build a building, which is how you can do market rate and affordable in the same building. So you hear terms like 80-20, right? So 80% market rate, 20% affordable, which is always debatable based on people's understanding of how that's calculated through something called area median income. So that gets complicated for people, but they're community spaces that have to be built, right? And so when you do this work we're doing and you're working with a community-based organization and a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar, developer is building right across the street from you, and you're a nonprofit and you're renting your space, you may not know that building going up across the street has to have a community piece. And if you're in the ground floor in that conversation, then you're part of the gentrification. You're participating. You're not just being victimized. But if people don't know that, and developers aren't going to tell you that shit.
Right. No.
Right.
Right.
That's where we come in. That's where the storytelling comes in. So for me, after these 91 credits and everything I've learned on set and the power of storytelling and my background in education. So this goes back to when I was 20, I was working in 13 high schools in New York, helping to reduce the dropout rate. So my roots are in everything I'm doing. So it's like I've come full circle, like the 6.0 version.
Right. I'm ready. I'm here like, all right, we'll talk about Yul Brenner and we'll talk about Cool Runnings. And then all of a sudden, fuck that, Malik Yoba. You are making such change. You know what? I learned this through a good friend of mine. His name is Messiah Munsami, and he wrote a short story, and it's a play, and it's called The Last Bodega in Brooklyn, about gentrification in Brooklyn.
I know that play. Yeah, I know that play.
It did it in African American film festivals, and and he's about the gentrification process, whitewashing communities and not letting people be a part of the community that they grew up in.
But it's not about letting people, right? My documentary is about me taking it. No one let me do shit.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, is that you have to believe the whole point of my doc, as much as it's about real estate development, you will hear me consistently say thoughts become things, understand connective tissue, be intentional. I repeat that over and over and over again because the first real estate we own is in our minds. So the first place you invest is there. I just spewed out real estate terms, AMI, LIHTC, low-income housing tax. That shit I learned. Like, I didn't come here with that. I had to, what is that? What's that? Let me look it up. Googling God is what I tell people.
I like that. When is the docuseries done? Are you working on it?
But it's not for public consumption unless you come to an event. So it's intentional viewing, as intentional as I am when I sit and edit and make sure that every sound and every image, every word is intentionally edited to make sure it can have the maximum emotional impact.
Okay.
To then follow up with the information. Because real estate on paper is like, what the fuck?
Right.
But if I tell your story and I relate to your struggle or your dream or your creativity, whatever that is, and it's the right music and it's the right pace of the edit, all of a sudden you're having an emotional relationship with this information. And you go, you know what? Shit, man, I didn't know that, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go try that. And that's so we exist as a company, Yoba Development, as builder of people, places, and things. And the people part is this part. It's why you're in that classroom, is that you're priming these young minds to say, this universe belongs to you. I don't care where you come from, how much money your parents didn't have. None of that shit matters.
Mm-hmm.
Because the same abundance that exists for everyone else exists for you.
Mm-hmm.
We may have more barriers to get there, but we still have to believe that it's possible. And then the other thing, when we do work collectively, we accelerate that, right? There's an African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that's what I preach. So I travel all over this country. I screen at real estate conferences. I work with schools, not just in New York. But right now, I was in Detroit a couple of weeks ago. I'm in Birmingham and Boston and Baltimore and Atlanta. And with that comes opportunities to partner and to invest and to build your own generator. So when they turn off the power, you still have lights. And I can still produce film and TV and other things that I now own, right? And the difference is, when you're an actor and you're number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on someone else's call sheet, you're still an employee. You still have to put in a W-9, even if you have your loan out company, right? You're still an employee, even if it goes into my company, I pay myself.
Right.
But it's if you are like me, and everyone's not like me. Everybody ain't trying to do all this shit. But if you are, know that you got a lane. Issa Rae, Tyler Perry. Like, there's an article in Hollywood Reporter this week. Why are A-list stars now adding mogul to their name? Because hip hop showed you Puff and Diddy and 50 and all of us that come from the rubble.
I just read it.
Yeah. Understood. And that was my attitude even with the film business. Like, I could have, like, I used to work with an agent that managed Paul Walker, Matt Luber. And at the height of Paul's fame and as Fast and Furious movies are blowing up. And Matt used to treat me like a second-class citizen to Paul, right? And I would say to him, like, you see how Puff put Mace on that record? You see how hip-hop artists will cross-pollinate and everyone will big each other up? You're in a position as a manager with talent at that level to be like, yo, how do we work this out so that we can work together to scale everyone? It's not the way Hollywood works most of the time.
No, I hear that.
Yeah.
I've seen that. You think that in showbiz, especially, like, all my friends that are succeeding, they're going to hook me up. No one. You really have to do it or create it on your own. And I so relate to your story because for me, not being in this business for 15 years, teaching, getting 2 master's degrees and all of that, and then going back into this business, it wasn't about booking a TV show. It was about creating. If it was this show, there's an in-person version of the show for Broadway artists, or we reunited Broadway casts during the pandemic. It was, I don't want to be on the call sheet. I want to be a creator. And I think that not everyone's as nuts as this conversation, but there's something about passion, and there's something about when you have that in you, Malik, you don't worry if you're up till 3 a.m. because it's your passion project.
It's the life.
It's life.
It's not a project. It's your life. Like, what life do you want? Right? So if I'm getting downloads, I'm writing, right? I'm writing a document. I'm selling a vision that's coming to me. And the only way it's going to grow is if you feed it. And so, yes, I might be tired, but I'm not working for someone else. I'm putting myself in a position to get a piece of a deal. And in order for me to get a piece of a deal, I have to articulate what I see that they don't see. And I have to present it in a way, again, the storyteller. This is the benefit of what we do. I can go into these business meetings because I have the nomenclature. I understand the climate. I know what it is. And I also know a whole bunch of shit I don't know. I am not trying to play in those lanes. Mm-hmm. But the part that I do know is how we can connect what this development is to these young people in the city of Boston and create opportunities. And we can tell these stories and we can integrate all of the things that we do as a company into what they are doing as a development. And if it was earlier in the deal, we might have equity in that. Right, as well. But because I'm working in these 3 lanes, education, the storytelling, and the real estate, it depends on what the deal is, where we get to play.
I'm so inspired. I mean, like, this is like, I'm sure through the courses of your life, and I know I've taken so much of your time, through the courses of your life, I'm sure as you reach different levels of success, the pinnacle kept moving. Book that, get paid, book the job, win the awards, get the movies, book more work, and get the right representation and get the right this and that, and all of that. And then it gets to the point where what used to get you high don't get you high no more. So he says, like, what is next for you? You've reached the pinnacle of a lot of artists, what artists would look for. I have the TV regular job. I have the movie star role. And now to take what you've learned and transition it to owning, if it's through production, if it's through real estate, if it's through whatever, that's the inspiring part. And that what I think is what we as artists, with that artist mentality, like, you're always going to be broke. You're never going to have a job.
Fuck that shit.
Fuck that is exactly right.
I've never said that. But I can see how your mind works, right? Not only did you create something for yourself, but you're resourceful. You're in a classroom. I was wondering, I was like, why does he have a show with nothing in the background? But it's but you know what? That's okay. That's okay. The director of me is like, well, turn it toward the classroom so you have some production value in the shit. Because you know what? That's your brand, bro.
No, true.
Like, at the end of the day, you're still an educator, and that's a beautiful thing. And that's not something like, well, that's what I do over here. Fuck that. It's who you are. You do this show not to talk about yourself.
No, I want to talk to you. I want to.
You want to share what people have to share with the world because you want people to learn something. And so you embrace that, but I can tell that you're prepared. I mentioned, boom, boom, you got the graphic. That tells me about who you are as a storyteller, as a producer, as a director, as a writer, all that, just by how you're moving. Well, and there's no difference between what you're doing or somebody's doing for Jimmy Fallon or any fucking Oprah, anybody. It's the same stuff.
Well, that that really means a lot. And I take as do you, passion in my art and in life. You know, this is, especially in show business, your name is really who you are. Like, this is, my work is what I can do. So when you watch the next episode, and I'm in my classroom and not home recording with someone, you'll see the aesthetics will be on point.
But see, this is how God works.
That 100%.
Right? Of all, how many people have you interviewed from your classroom?
If the timing is right, sometimes we do it at lunch, sometimes we do it at 3 o'clock. And we're in the classroom. Not a ton, but we'll never do it this way again.
Worked for me, but
no, I just want to.
I'm encouraging you to lean into that, whatever that means for you. I do not think that it's a coincidence that me, of all people, you had that moment, because for me, there's something about keeping the shit all the way real, bro. Like, the celebrity of it all is a construct of other people. And if you're an artist that's playing that game, you might end up like our boy who's going through all the bullshit right now. Because this construct, no, you're still a hurting child acting out. Whatever it is, you're still acting out. But celebrity and money and fame. I can show you a picture of me and Kanye from 2005, when Damon Dash first gave him his gold chain, his Rockefeller chain, before college, right after College Dropout came out, when he was still the backpack kid, just happy to have the chain, playing Jesus Walks for Me and Gold Digger in his car, and me asking, not even his car, his boy's car, who we grew up with, we used to do graphics for him. I'm like, yo, what are you doing with that record? I need to put that in one of my shows. And you see the joy on this boy's face. And Dame Dash was giving him shit. I was like, yo, I grew up with Dame. Like, Dame and I grew up in the same building. Don't let that motherfucker, like, put you down. And so when I see this man, I see the trauma. Yes, people will have little empathy for trauma played out loud. But we all have that going on in here somewhere, some version of that. Fuck this person, these people, I hate, but you know, when things are intact, that's not going to come out here.
Well, you're writing a book about it.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I am writing, you know, originally it was through the lens of Hollywood black men in trauma. And it's shifting, but that's a part of it, because I think that it's so easy, especially with social media, for everyone to have an opinion, everyone to chime in, everyone to feel important because you're getting likes and follows and all that. But most people aren't doing the inner work authentically, because when you are, you don't really need to, you just are it. Unless it's really a lane where you really are a teacher and a healer, then that's one thing. But, you know, it's just where we are right now.
Well, you're such an insightful dude. Like, you are deep, and I could pick your brain for, I don't know, days, months, weeks. Like, really, not only as your art has spoken and really made a lot of joy and taught us a lot about life and all of this, but what you're doing for the youth is generational and will improve the lives of not only just individuals and families, but communities. And that's really the work that you're putting in. People can follow you, and they could also follow the I Build New York on Instagram.
Yeah, my Facebook just got hacked, so we're dealing with that today.
And we could his Malik Yoba, and it's this on Twitter as well. And you have a new show. If you want to see him do his work,
it's actually a film.
A film. That's right. I'm sorry.
The Good Nurse on Netflix. It's streaming today, the 26th.
Stream it today. Eddie Redmayne, Jessica Chastain.
That's enough. Like, Eddie, you know, I kept thinking about Eddie's performance in this, and everyone's great in it. Eddie just gets to go to some crazy places. And I thought a lot of him and Corey, watching Corey last night. Again, that part is the actor. Like, that never gets old, to be able to do that. And so I don't have anything on the horizon right now that I get to go there. I'm doing some recurring on Equalizer right now, and just shot that show, East New York. But I'm really focused on shooting my pilot that I wrote, and some other films I'm going to direct, and then, of course, everything I'm doing here. And
Well,
Trying to figure out how to get it all done.
I'm here for it all. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm here for it all.
Figuring out how to get it done, man. Enjoy that show tonight.
Thank you. I'm going to let you know.
Let me know what you think. Send me a message.
I'm going to send you a message and I will let you know. I'm going to absolutely let you know what I think. It was a real honor and a pleasure. Thank you for dealing with the craziness.
And I want to get those kids these tablets. So
look, we are.
Yeah.
We're right next to Jersey City. We're right by the Lincoln Tunnel. They're all first generation Americans. They, when during the pandemic, we had Verizon have to give out hotspots. They're poor, and that's why I teach here, because they teach me a lot that the privilege I've lived.
Yeah, follow up, and then
No worries.
I'll have my daughter coordinate to get these tablets.
No worries. I appreciate you. Big thank you. So much love. Thank you so much.
Bless you, man. Thank you.
Too. Thank you so much.
There you have it. Hope you enjoyed this roundtable. Next week, we have the one and only Vincent. Vincent, LA's own amazing LGBTQIA plus singer, songwriter, performer. He's a blast. And the incredible Lawrence Smith is back. He was on our first episode. He has a show coming to New York City that you're not going to want to miss at Chelsea Table and Stage. I'm so excited about it. Make sure you check out the Roundtable Talks every single week on our YouTube channel. You better go. You better absolutely like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And for more information about me, always visit robertbannon.com. Till next time, everybody, as I always say, you know what I always say. The best is yet to come. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon next week, only on the Roundtable.